lights glowing soft tonight. Cold air touching my face, everything feels distant again. Let's let the boulevard under pale rain, lights breaking across puddles softly. Cars passing very slowly now, night staying very calm. Museum silence inside empty rooms, footsteps echo very softly. Cold marble under dim lights, everything feeling very still. Open horizon behind the skyline, clouds covering the moon slowly. Soft wind touching buildings, mind drifting very slow. Green flash changing the signal, cars starting very quietly now. Cold air moving across streets, night holding quiet tension. Closed windows behind dark glass, neon glow fading softly. Paper moving across pavement, everything feeling unreal now. Rainwater running along asphalt, soft reflections breaking slowly. Cars disappearing into distance, air staying calm tonight. Street becoming completely empty, lights fading one by one. Soft wind touching jacket, mind staying completely calm. Clouds moving across the sky, cold night holding silence. Voice staying low tonight, everything feeling distant again. Shadows stretching across sidewalks, neon glow fading slowly. Soft echo from distant traffic, night staying calm again. Low voice inside headphones tonight, soft bass moving slowly. Cold air touching buildings, everything feeling quiet again. Lonely boulevard fading into darkness, street lights disappearing slowly. Soft words fading tonight, silence closing the rhythm.
Twilight Boulevard fading into night. Soft light touching empty windows. Cold air brushing slowly now, everything feels calm tonight. Soulful Boulevard glowing very faint. Street lights standing far apart. Cars passing very slowly, mind drifting very quiet. Rainy streets shining under neon, water run across asphalt slowly. Soft reflections moving gently, night holding quiet rhythm. Museum silence inside empty hall, footsteps echoing very softly. Cold marble under dim lights, everything feeling still tonight. Distant boulevard stretching far ahead, lights fading into darkness slowly. Cold wind touching building, mind staying completely calm. Closed doors behind dark glass, neon glow fading slowly. Paper moving across pavement, everything feeling unreal now. Cold night covering the city, street lights blinking softly now. Soft hum of distant traffic, mind drifting very slow. Rainwater dripping from signs, puddles reflecting pale light. Cars disappearing far away, night staying calm again. Windows showing faint reflection, shadows stretching across asphalt. Cold air touching softly, everything feeling distant tonight. Clouds covering the moon slowly, lights fading one by one. Soft breeze moving gently now, mind staying calm again. Yeah, street becoming completely empty, voice staying very low. Cold air rushing softly, everything feeling quiet tonight. Twilight fading very slowly now, city breathing very quiet. Soft rhythm closing softly, silence holding the song. Holding the song. Holding the song. Holding the song.
Corridor stretching inside the station, cold lights glowing above slowly. Soft steps echo very faint, everything feels quiet tonight. Amber light touching the walls, shadows moving across the floor. Soft air drifting slowly now, mind staying calm tonight. La da 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 da. Shadows stretching across empty room, windows dark behind curtains. Soft wind touching softly now, everything feeling unreal tonight. Ripple moving across calm water, lights breaking in the small waves. Cold air touching the river, mind drifting very slow. Da 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 da. Baseline moving very deep tonight, low tone filling headphones softly. Breeze staying calm again, everything feeling very still. Da 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 da. Street lights blinking very slowly, clouds covering the moon softly. Cold air touching my jacket, mind staying completely calm. Ba-da-da-da-da. Closed windows across the street, soft wind moving paper slowly. Cars passing very quietly now, everything feeling quiet again. Cold pavement reflecting faint light, shadow stretching across asphalt. Soft sound from distant engine, night staying calm tonight. Ba-da-da-da-da. Clouds drifting above rooftops slowly, street becoming completely empty now. Soft breeze touching softly tonight, mind drifting very slowly. Rainwater moving along pavement, lights reflecting very softly now. Cars disappearing far away, everything feeling unreal tonight. Low voice inside headphones tonight, soft bass moving very calm. Cold air brushing softly now, mind staying completely still. Nights fading into silence slowly, city breathing very quietly now. Soft words fading away tonight, everything staying quiet. No, 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 no. Hey, hey, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Mirror reflection across the window, lights breaking softly tonight. Cold air touching my face, everything feels quiet again. Whisper moving through the night, soft voice staying very low. Cars passing without sound, mind drifting very calm. Quiet street under pale lights, windows dark across buildings. Soft wind touching softly now, everything feeling distant tonight. Glow moving across wet asphalt, neon lights fading slowly tonight. Cars disappearing far away, mind drifting very slow. Backseat silence inside the car, low bass moving softly now. Cold air brushing softly tonight, everything feeling unreal now. Street becoming completely empty tonight, lights fading one by one. Soft breeze touching the street, mind staying completely calm. Clouds covering the moon slowly, streetlights blinking very faint. Cold air touching buildings softly, everything feeling quiet again.
Rainwater running very slowly now. Lights reflecting across asphalt. Cars disappearing in the distance. Mind drifting very calm. Low voice inside headphones tonight. Soft bass moving slow again. Cold wind brushing softly now. Everything feeling distant again. Windows reflecting distant lights. Tonight shadows stretching across pavement. Soft sound from distant engine. Mind staying completely calm. Street becoming completely silent tonight. Clouds moving slowly above rooftops. Cold air touching softly now. Everything feeling quiet again. Glow fading into silence slowly. City breathing very quietly now. Soft words fading tonight. Everything staying calm again.
Sunlight filtering through old trees. Leaves trembling in gentle breeze. Softness covering garden floor. Air smelling of warm earth. Children running between flower beds. Laughter echoing across small paths. Birds chirping softly nearby. Shadows stretching over grass. Whisper line of wind through branches. Old swing moving slowly back. Feet brushing against soft grass. Everything feeling calm and gentle. Faded light hitting garden fence. Flowers glowing under pale sun. Garden gate creaking softly. Memories floating across warm air. Mellow tone of distant piano. Nose drifting across open window. Children pausing in small play. Everything quiet and serene. Slow pulse of heart and chest. Running across narrow garden path. Sun hitting old stone walls. Air carrying faint scent of roses. Water dripping from old fountain. Puddles glistening in sunlight. Leaves swirling over mossy stones. Everything moving with soft rhythm. Bird song echoing between high hedges. Butterflies fluttering across flower beds. Garden alive with gentle motion. Children playing without hurry. Old bicycle leaning on wall. Paint chipped under faded sun. Memories resting on quiet bench. Everything holding soft nostalgia. Sun slowly moving across sky. Shadows stretching across garden paths. Soft breeze brushing over face. Everything feeling calm and warm. Flowers bending under gentle wind. Petals brushing against small stones. Children whispering secrets to each other. Everything glowing under soft light. Evening arriving slowly again. Sky painting colors above garden. Children leaving toward home. Air carrying calm and warm. Filament glowing above quiet. Warm light spreading soft through room. Shadows stretching gently across walls. Air holding calm, subtle energy. Lighthouse standing tall across bay. Beacons cutting foggy evening air. Waves brushing rocks with faint sound. Everything moving slowly tonight. Aiming
Hammock swinging lightly between trees, leaves rustling softly in breeze. Sky fading gently into dusk, air carrying faint soft scent. Feather drifting slowly on water, ripples forming under soft touch. Air moving gently across surface, evening holding quiet ocean calm. Filament flickering a small lamp, warm light casting faint shadows. Ink resting on empty notebook, air staying calm above desks. Lighthouse guiding boats across bay, fog curling slowly around towers. Water moving softly toward shore, night settling quietly over ocean. Hammock stretching between hidden palms, moonlight glinting faint on leaves. Air carrying distant night sounds, everything feeling strangely peaceful. Feather landing softly on sand, ripples moving outward from touch. Water reflecting faint starlight glow, everything holding gentle rhythm. Filament glowing inside small lantern, light scattering across quiet floor. Air brushing gently over pages, night holding calm, gentle energy. Lighthouse visible across distant waves, moon reflecting faint on water. Air moving softly above ocean, everything feeling peaceful tonight. Hammock swaying under soft breeze, stars shining faint above palms. Air carrying quiet distance, sense night breathing slowly around trees. Feather drifting across calm tide, ripples fading slowly toward shore. Air holding gentle, leaving hush, everything staying soft, quiet, calm.
Bicycle leaning against driftwood fence, sand shifting softly under warm breeze. Children running along quiet beach, sunlight glimmering over distant waves. Notebook lying open on pier, pen scratching faint melodic lines. Waves breaking gently on wooden post, air carrying salty soft scent. Ripple forming across calm water, birds calling faintly above ocean. Small boats rocking near horizon, everything moving slowly, quietly now. Sackles foam playing from hidden cafe, notes drifting across empty sand. Wind carrying soft jazz melody, sun sinking low behind distant hills. Lanterns glowing faint on boardwalk, footsteps echoing along quiet planks. Soft breeze brushing over shoulders, night approaching slowly on ocean. Mirror reflecting sunset over water, shadows stretching across driftwood logs. Children laughing, fading in distance, everything blending into soft calm. Hammock swinging between old palms, book resting on lap forgotten. Ocean tide brushing gently ashore, air moving softly across sand. Prism of light falling on waves, seagulls circling above distant cliffs. Ripples spreading across tide pools, everything holding calm reflection. Rooftop cafe, lights glowing faint, jazz music drifting along narrow streets. Soft air brushing over tiled terrace, night stretching long across quiet town. Pebble crunching under quiet footsteps, water dripping from old pier boards. Soft wind carrying ocean scent, everything blending into gentle night. Filament glowing inside distant lamp, shadows dancing across empty balcony. Notes lingering from saxophone softly, air holding gentle amber warmth. Morning light creeping along horizon, notebook pages filled with quiet thoughts. Ocean sparkling under pale sun, everything starting gently, slowly now.
Concrete wall stretching into sky. Rooftop empty beneath soft clouds. Sunlight glimmering across broken glass. Air carrying distant factory hum. Mosaic tiles cracked under feet. Dust scattered across old floor. Shadows stretching along silent halls. Everything feeling abandoned tonight. Feather drifting slowly through air. Wind brushing against old machinery. Pipes rattling faint beneath rooftop. Everything moving quietly in place. Ripple forming across small puddle. Rain falling lightly on concrete. Lantern swinging in empty corner. Air moving gently over tiles. Windows reflecting faint city skyline. Smoke rising from distant chimneys. Sunlight fading into gentle dusk. Everything holding quiet tension now. Rooftop birds calling faintly above. Wind brushing soft along parapet. Shadows dancing across old bricks. Everything feeling in strangely calm tonight. Concrete floor cracked in weather. Moss growing in forgotten corners. Light falling soft across old tools. Air carrying faint metallic scent. Mosaic broken beneath scattered debris. Soft breeze brushing distant chimneys. Shadows moving slowly along walls. Everything holding quiet memories now. Rooftops stretching above empty streets. Air carrying faint distant voices. Birds circling under pale sunlight. Everything staying still for now. Feather drifting across rusty pipes. Dust floating faintly through soft beams. Concrete glowing in early light. Everything moving gently across rooftop. Rippling puddle reflecting sky. Wind brushing lightly past chimney. Shadows stretching long across broken tiles. Everything holding quiet and shine. Morning arriving across distant horizon. Sunlight touching faint mosaic floor. Air carrying calm over rooftop. Everything starting gently, slowly now.
Mellow tone drifting through tall trees. Sunlight peeking across that moss. Leaves swaying gently in breeze. Shadows stretching beneath branches. Dark blue fog covering overlay. Water reflecting broken sunlight. Mist rising from cold surface. Everything staying calm and quiet. Cloud moving slowly above hills. Wind whispering through pine. Birds flying low above water. Echoes fading across distant shore. Slow drift leaves floating downstream. Ripples spreading across small waves. Rocks covered in green moss. Air smelling fresh and earthy. Silent step on forest trail. Footprints disappearing into soil. Twigs cracking softly beneath. Quiet moments stretching forever. Sunlight breaking through high canopy. Beams touching hidden forest floor. Shadows dancing across wet ferns. Everything alive but still. Small waterfall spilling over rock. Water falling with gentle sound. Mist rising into early morning. Leaves glistening under faint sun. Out watching from ancient trees. Eyes reflecting faint morning glow. Branches moving softly in breeze. Silence holding the whole forest. Fog curling around distant ridge. Air moving lightly over trail. Deer crossing near hidden pond. Everything frozen in quiet. Moss carpet covering forest ground. Fallen leaves scattered across path. Sun filtering through thick branches. Air staying calm and still. Bird song echoing across valley. Water rippling gently in stream. Shadows fading as light rises. Morning arriving very softly. Forest waking slowly today. Sun stretching across wide hills. Everything breathing in quiet. Life beginning without sound.
Neon street glowing soft tonight. Lights reflecting across windows. Cold air touching my face. Everything feels distant again. Quiet boulevard stretching far ahead. Street lights glowing very faint. Cars passing very slowly now. Mind drifting very calm. Open horizon behind tall buildings. Clouds covering the moon slowly. Soft wind touching softly now. Everything feeling unreal tonight. Soft ember glowing inside ashtray. Smoke rising very slowly. Low bass inside headphones. Thoughts drifting very calm. Green flash changing the signal. Cars moving slowly again. Cold air brushing the street. Night staying calm tonight. Closed windows behind dark glass. Neon glow fading slowly. Paper moving across pavement. Everything feeling quiet now. Street becoming completely empty. Lights fading one by one. Cold wind touching buildings. Mind staying completely calm. Rainwater running along asphalt. Soft reflections breaking slowly. Cars disappearing in the distance. Night holding quiet rhythm. Clouds moving across dark sky. Street lights glowing faint again. Soft breeze touching softly. Everything feeling calm tonight. Window reflecting distant lights. Shadows stretching across pavement. Cold air moving slow. Mind drifting very slowly. Low voice inside headphones tonight. Soft bass moving slowly. City breathing very quiet. Everything feeling distant again. Neon street fading into darkness. Lights disappearing very slowly. Soft words fade in the night. Silence closing the rhythm. Yeah. Vinyl records spinning in shop. Faint music playing from most speakers. Sunlight entering through wide windows. People moving softly around tables. City light reflecting on cobblestones. Shops lining narrow busy street. Children running with laughter. Air smelling of fresh bread. Radio crackling in small cafe. Barista pouring coffee quietly. Customers reading or chatting low. Warm sunlight filling the room. Soft air brushing open market stalls. Fabric hanging above food tables. Vegetables and fruit stacked neatly. Vendors shouting softly to customers. Distant bell ringing from tower. Clock showing late afternoon hour. Shadows growing across square. Everything moving in slow rhythm. Street musicians playing mellow tune. The accordion, a guitar blending softly. Passers-by nodding the beat. Children stopping to watch. Yeah. Old fountain trickling in corner. Water sparkling in the afternoon sun. Pigeons gathering near stone edges. Air carrying warm city scent. Vinyl posters decorating store walls. Colors bright under fading light. Customers browsing slowly inside. Everything feeling warm and soft. Radio playing jazz from cafe. People sipping tea or coffee. Newspapers spread across small tables, conversations blending into quiet hum. Soft hair fluttering from open windows, fabric and banners moving lightly. Children's laughter echoing softly, market alive but calm. Distant bells striking 4 o'clock, shadows stretching across cobblestones. Sunlight reflecting off nearby windows, air feeling warm and gentle. City settling into quiet evening, shops closing one by one. People heading toward home, everything slowing down softly. Candle flickering softly on table, warm light glinting across walls. Shadows dancing gently around room, air carrying faint waxing. Balcony stretching above quiet street lights casting soft golden glow. Wind brushing faint across rails, sky turning slowly into dark. Saxophone playing low in corner, notes drifting slowly through silence. Air moving gently with music, everything holding mellow night calm. Prism catching last light of sunset, colors scattering across distant glass. Shadow stretching along balcony floor, air brushing faint against skin. Gravel crunching under quiet footsteps, street echoing faint distant car. Lanterns glowing softly in alleys, night settling over calm city. Candlelight reflecting off small mirror, soft glow touching scattered papers. Air moving gently above quiet desk, everything feeling warm and mellow. Balcony doors open to breeze, stars twinkling faint above rooftops. Wind carrying faint distant voices, city breathing softly under night. Saxophone notes echo through alley, air filled with gentle music. Shadows stretching along wet bricks, everything holding calm urban rhythm. Prism reflecting streetlight across wall, colors dancing faintly in dark. Air moving softly above rooftops, night holding gentle quiet tone. Gravel paths leading to hidden courtyard, lantern glowing faint on railing. Steps fading into distant shadows, everything staying mellow and soft. Flickering above old desks, light touching faint scattered papers. Air moving gently in room, everything feeling warm, calm, quiet. Balcony stretching above silent street, saxophone fading with last notes. Prism catching moonlight through glass, night holding soft, gentle rhythm. Velvet sky covering city lights, wind brushing softly past walls. Shadows stretching across empty streets, air smelling faintly of rain.
Starlight twinkling above distant towers. Windows glowing in quiet apartments. Cars moving slowly below streets. Everything feeling distant tonight. Puddle reflecting neon signs. Footsteps splashing softly across pavement. Rain dripping from old gutters. Air moving gently in alleys. Rooftop empty beneath pale moon. Soft breeze brushing forgotten antennas. Air carrying distant traffic sounds. Everything standing completely still. Candle flickering inside tiny room. Shadows dancing on cracked walls. Notebook lying open on table. Mind drifting into quiet thought. Vinyl spinning faintly in corners. Soft bass moving through wooden floors. Lamp casting soft amber glow. Air feeling calm and warm. Skyline fading under approaching clouds. Street lights flickering across empty roads. Wind whispering past open chimneys. Night holding everything gently now. Concrete glimmering under wet light. Alleys stretching into dark horizon. Metal gates swinging quietly open. Footsteps echoing down narrow path. Rooftop birds calling faintly above. Air carrying scent to far ocean. Stars hidden behind drifting clouds. Night moving slowly across city. Soft amber glowing in fireplace. Windows reflecting faint distant light. City breathing softly under quiet sky. Everything feeling still and calm. Lanterns swinging gently near fire escape. Shadows falling across old bricks. Air carrying faint winter chill. Everything holding quiet tension. Morning approaching under foggy horizon. Birdsong piercing faint amber glow. City waking softly, slowly now. Night drifting away completely silent.
Subway train sliding through tunnels. Lights flickering above empty tracks. Concrete walls holding distant sounds. Air carrying faint metallic scent. Metal rails humming beneath wheels. Footsteps echo softly across platform. Graffiti stretching along brick walls. Everything moving quietly tonight. Echo bouncing between tiled columns. Announcements faint above distant rumble. Passengers whispering without urgency. Night holding still beneath city. Filament glowing in no lamps. Soft amber light touching damp walls. Shadows dancing across broken benches. Everything feeling strangely calm now. Spilling across open notebook. Lyrics written quietly in dim light. Pages fluttering under soft air. Mind drifting far inside rhythm. Concrete dripping with night moisture. Pipes rattling softly above ceiling. Ventilation hums faint across tunnel. Air moving gently along walls. Graffiti colors muted in darkness. Posters peeling from old pillars. Subway stretching endlessly ahead. Everything feeling distant and still. Train stopping under flickering sign. Doors opening quietly. Passengers leave. Sound fading across empty station. Night breathing slowly inside city. Metal poles glimmering faintly above. Footsteps brushing across tile floor.
Echo carrying distant train horn. Everything moving gently through silence. Lamps swinging slightly over bench. Shadows stretching along broken tiles. Air holding faint damp scent. Everything standing completely still. Yeah. Subway moving slowly under city. Lights reflecting faint across tracks. Passengers sleeping softly in corner. Time stretching quietly along tunnel. Morning coming slowly through graves. Filament glowing faint across platforms. City waking softly above subway. Everything starting quiet again. Tide brushing against wet sand. Moonlight glimmering on small waves. Sea foam fading into quiet night. Air carrying faint, salty scent. Candle flickering inside small boat. Lantern casting shadows across deck. Water moving softly beneath hull. Everything feeling strangely calm tonight. Ocean stretching beyond distant horizon. Waves crashing quietly on rock. Stars reflecting faint across surface. Sky holding soft midnight glow. Ripple forming under drifting moon. Soft wind brushing gentle sails. Sand glowing faint beneath starlight. Everything standing completely still. Dusk fading into night slowly. Horizon disappearing behind dark clouds. Foam sliding gently across beach. Air carrying quiet ocean hum. Lantern light flickering on pier. Shadow dancing across old planks. Water touching wooden posts softly. Everything moving gently tonight. Tide retreating across wet sand. Footprints fading under faint moonlight. Seaweed glimmering faintly nearby. Air drifting calmly over waves. Ripples stretching far across bay. Moon reflecting on dark water. Stars blinking faint above horizon. Everything holding quiet tension. Candle flame flickering softly inside. Boat rocking gently on waves. Ocean whispering quiet stories. Air moving softly through night. Dust settling gently across sky. Water shimmering under faint stars. Foam touching rocks slowly. Everything staying quiet tonight. Lantern swinging lightly above pier. Waves brushing quietly against posts. Shadows stretching long across sand. Everything feeling distant and still. Morning arriving slowly at shore. Sun touching tide with soft light. Ocean stretching across horizon. Everything starting quietly again.
Whisper moving through the night. Cold air touching my face. Street lights glowing very faint. Everything feels quiet tonight. Neon glow across with asphalt. Signs flickering very slowly now. Cars passing without sound. Night staying calm again. Mirror reflection across the window. Lights breaking very softly now. Soft wind touching buildings. Mind drifting very slow. Distant sound from empty highway. Cold air moving softly tonight. Low bass inside headphones. Everything feeling unreal now. Calm night covering the city. Windows dark across buildings. Soft breeze touching softly now. Mind staying completely still. Clouds covering the moon slowly. Streetlights blinking one by one. Cold air brushing softly tonight. Everything feeling calm again. Hey, rainwater running very slowly now. Lights reflecting across asphalt. Cars disappearing far away. Mind drifting very quiet. Yeah, low voice inside headphones tonight. Soft bass moving slow again. Cold wind touching buildings. Everything feeling distant now. Street becoming completely empty tonight. Windows dark behind curtains. Soft wind brushing the street. Mind staying completely calm. Clouds moving slowly above rooftops. Cold air touching softly now. Lights fading very slowly to now. Everything feeling quiet again. Yeah, soft reflections across the pavement. Cars passing far away tonight. Low tone voice staying calm. Mind drifting very slow. Yeah, neon fading into silence slow. City breathing very quiet now. Soft words fading softly tonight. Everything staying calm again. Da 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 da.
Memories staying inside old rooms. Names written across the walls. Time moving without warning. Everything feels strangely familiar. Radio playing inside the kitchen. Voices coming very softly. Someone laughing in the background. Moments suddenly feeling alive. Cassette turning inside the player. Old songs sounding slightly broken. Dust moving under sunlight. Years returning very quietly. Night walk across empty streets. Street lights standing very still. Cold air touching softly now. Mind staying completely calm. Puddle reflecting the yellow light. Cars passing without sound. Water moving very slowly. Street feeling strangely peaceful. Windows dark across buildings. Clouds covering the moon again. Soft wind touching the street. Everything feeling distant now. Old photos inside small boxes. Faces smiling under sunlight. Time passing without permission. Mind feeling slightly heavy. Low music inside headphones. Soft bass moving slowly now. Breeze staying calm again. Everything becoming quiet tonight. Rain starting very lightly now. Lights reflecting across asphalt. Cars disappearing far away. Street becoming completely silent. Someone calling from far away. Voice fading very slowly. Moments staying inside silence. Time refusing to move. Clouds drifting above rooftops slowly. Street lights blinking one by one. Cold air touching the face. Everything feeling unreal again. Morning coming very slowly now. Sky opening without warning. Breeze becoming calm again. Everything starting quietly now. Train moving along quiet tracks. Sunset painting distant hills. Steel wheels echo on rails. Smoke rising into fading skies. Slow drive along rusty train bridge. River reflecting evening clouds. Rail stretching into horizon. Wind brushing softly past window. Passengers staring out glass pane. Hands resting on cold metal. Thoughts drifting like passing fields. Everything moving with quiet rhythm. Dust settling across rolling plains. Shadows lengthening over farmhouses. Lights flickering from distant towns. Air smelling faintly of smoke. Old station passing under train. Silent whistle blowing softly. Tracks bending around forest edges. Everything slipping slowly away. Reflection of rails in river. Sky mirrored in shallow water. Evening breeze brushing empty fields. Train continuing into unknown distance. Hills rolling under twilight sky. Trees swaying near quiet creek. Sunlight fading behind ridge. Everything blending into calm. Signal lights blinking faint orange. Wind rustling through dry grass. Train carrying dreams and memories. Passengers lost in quiet thought. Clouds drifting above distant city. Buildings fading under fading light. Smoke curling from chimneys. Everything moving with gentle pulse. Station lights glowing far away. Rails stretching into night. Train rocking softly long tracks. Air smelling of distant pine. Distant hills fading behind train. River bending under low bridge. Shadows merging across valley. Everything slipping into quiet night. Moon rising above empty rails. Stars starting to appear. Train slowing toward next station. Everything settling into soft calm.
Paper letters still inside drawers. Old ink fading very slowly. Names written under soft light. Memories staying very alive. Signal lost inside the station. Phones glowing across faces. People standing without speaking. Everything feeling disconnected tonight. Long corridor inside the hospital. Cold lights never turning off. Doors closing very softly now. Time moving painfully slow. Walls starting slowly to crumble. Dust falling across the floor. Old places losing their voices. Everything changing very quietly. Heartbeat rising inside silence. Brace staying short tonight. Fear moving through the chest. Mind refusing to calm. Child laughing across the hallway. Someone calling from far away. Windows open under sunlight. Moments suddenly feeling lighter. Rain starting outside the city. Cars stopping under bridges. People running without speaking. Street noise fading completely. Old photos inside small boxes. Faces smiling under sunlight. Years passing without warning. Everything feeling too fast. Soft music playing somewhere distant. Someone humming under breath. Time stopping for a second. Mind finally feeling calm. Night coming slowly again now. Lights turning on everywhere. City breathing very softly. Everything becoming quiet again. Hands shaking slightly tonight. Words staying stuck inside. Silence saying everything clearly. Nothing needing explanation now. Morning finally open in the sky. Clouds moving slowly away. We're becoming calm again. Everything's starting over now.
Mirror reflection across the window. Lights breaking softly tonight. Cold air touching my face. Everything feels distant again. Quiet street under pale light. Windows dark across buildings. Soft wind touching softly now. Mind drifting very calm. Glow moving across wet pavement. Neon lights fading slowly tonight. Cars passing without sound. Everything feeling unreal now. Asphalt shining under cold rain. Water moving across the road. Soft reflections breaking slowly. Night staying calm again. Heartbeat moving soft tonight. Breath staying calm and slow. Cold air touching softly now. Mind staying completely still. Clouds covering the moon slowly. Street lights blinking very faint. Soft breeze touching buildings. Everything feeling quiet again. Low voice inside headphones tonight. Soft bass moving very calm. Cold wind touching softly now. Mind drifting very slow. Windows reflecting distant lights. Shadows stretching across pavement. Soft sound from distant engine. Night staying calm tonight. Rainwater running slowly now. Lights reflecting across asphalt softly. Cars disappearing far away. Everything feeling distant again. Street becoming completely empty tonight. Cold air brushing softly now. Low tone voice staying calm. Mind staying completely still. Clouds drifting slowly above rooftops. Street lights fading one by one. Soft wind touching the street. Everything feeling calm again. Quiet night fading very slowly. City breathing very quietly now. Soft words fade in the night. Silence holding the rhythm. No, 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 no.
Ink spilling across old pages. Words forming slowly in notebook. Soft light touching leather cover. Air holding quiet inspiration tonight. Mosaic tiles glimmer under lamp. Patterns dancing across tile floor. Shadows stretching along cool walls. Silence settling over empty hall. Rooftop visible through open window. Moonlight brushing faint brick edges. Stars flickering softly in sky. Air drifting gently across city. Plume of smoke rising outside chimney. Air curling softly into night. Distant sirens fading in the dark. Everything feeling calm and hollow. Oh, tide moving slowly along distant shore. Waves brushing sand and rhythm. Reflections glimmering under pale moon. Night carrying soft ocean whisper. Ink lines fading across sketchbook. Ideas drifting into empty page. Pen hovering above quiet paper. Air holding gentle tension tonight. Mosaic patterns catching last sunlight. Walls glowing faint across corridor. Shadows stretching along cool tiles. Soft wind brushing open windows. Those rooftops stretching above silent streets. Stars reflected on puddle below. Air moving gently over asphalt. City feeling strangely peaceful tonight. Gloom rising slowly from distant chimney. Landing glowing faint above balcony. Smoke curling softly through night air. Everything moving quietly under sky. Tide brushing rocks along shoreline. Moonlight shimmering faint on water. Waves breaking gently against edges. Evening holding calm and quiet. Ink smudges marking old papers. slightly over thoughts. Soft light blending across pages. Air holding quiet meditation tonight. Rooftop fading in the night sky. Stars glimmering above distant city.